How to build a Blackgates Sweet Pea 5-inch gauge locomotive, part 31. My workbench is a disgrace, so before I start this episode a tidy up is required. After this I clean up the T-piece that I made, then temporarily fit the cylinders to the chassis, and test fit the completed exhaust pipe assembly. I know I should be more organised, but I've always worked like this. All the tools that I use for any particular job are always around me on the bench. But after a while it gets a little bit too much, and the available bench space gets less and less. At the back of the bench is the Sweet Pea boiler, and I don't know why I left it there, laziness perhaps, or is it that in my workshop it's so untidy I've nowhere else to put it. I actually like working like this, with all the tools surrounding me. But there are limits, and at the moment the workbench has well exceeded the limit. It's looking better already. Where did I put all these parts? Well, I put them in their proper place, so now I can start the next episode. Here's the T-piece that I made in the last episode, and as you can see, I've cleaned it up a bit. A quick word about silver solder. I got this silver solder from a man in America, and it's different to the stuff that I normally use. It has a higher silver content, and you can see this in the current image. Even though I've polished it up, the silver solder line is still silver. The plus points of this stuff are it flows absolutely beautifully, and I think I'll use it when I get round to fixing the Sweet Pea boiler. On with the job. Because I drilled a hole in the middle of this T-piece, I want to clean up any burrs on the inside, so I'm running through a 1/2 inch by 26 tap to clean up any burrs inside. This took a surprisingly long time to do, and here you can see the last part, removing the tap from the hole. It came out eventually. With the tap removed, I fitted one of the exhaust pipes. Because this isn't threaded at the cylinder end, you can take liberties with the drawing. It should be 3 7/8 of an inch long, but it's just over 4. Here I'm checking that there's plenty of room with the exhaust pipes fully pushed into the cylinders. In retrospect, I didn't need to make this part as I made it. But because the centre part is threaded, it allows me to control how far the outer parts go into the cylinder. Here I've attached the cylinders using just a couple of bolts at each side, and the fitting is in the centre, and it seems to work very well. The good thing about the O-ring design is if ever I want to remove a cylinder, it's a very quick job. Now it's time to see whether or not the parts line up. The pipe from the T-piece goes up through a hole in the bottom of the smoke box, and that becomes the blast pipe. I need a piece of thick-walled 1/2 inch diameter pipe, but I don't have any, so the solution is to use my Boxford lathe and use a piece of 5/8 of an inch diameter leaded bronze bar and turn it down to 1/2 inch diameter for most of its length. I forgot to look in the Sweet Pea book for the length of the blast pipe, which I've since found out only needed to be 5 3/4 of an inch long. This is much longer, but it's a good turning operation. I was quite surprised when I used my micrometer to find out that my lathe is very, very accurate. The finished diameter was 1/2 inch at the outer end, 1/2 inch in the middle, and 1/2 inch near the chuck. And talking about chucks, here I'm doing something really stupid. With the chuck revolving, this is a very stupid thing to do, and I do not recommend it. Instead, stop the machine, admire your work, check out how much swarf is covering the machine and chip tray, and then use a vacuum cleaner to vacuum it away. I don't do this regularly enough, and occasionally I do get pieces of swarf stuck in my fingers, and believe me, it's very painful. These small phosphor bronze or brass chippings are very, very sharp. With renewed enthusiasm, now I'm working on a clean machine, I applied some metal cutting lubricant to the work, and here, manually, I'm threading it. I don't know why I threaded it manually, I just wanted to show it in the video. It was very hard to do. I needed to put a lot of pressure on the die stock. In the end, common sense prevailed, and I engaged back gear to thread the bar under power. This was successful, and here it is before I removed it. And here it is during removal. The die stock contacts the top slide, so it can't rotate, and this makes it a very safe process. A final touch on the end of the thread using a file to take any sharp edges away. The part isn't finished because it doesn't have a hole all the way through it, but I'm not bothered about that for the moment. I just need to use it to align the smoke box with the T-piece. I turned the part around in the chuck and used the file on the other end. Surprise, surprise, the 1/2-inch diameter bar did not go through the hole in the bottom of the smoke box. This was put right by enlarging the hole using a hole cutter in my DeWalt drill. Before progressing any further, I'm going to remove all of the swarf using my airline, because metal chippings from the drilling job are also very sharp. Using an airline is not the best method because it just spreads the chippings on the bench. What I'm doing here is checking the alignment of the holes that hold the smoke box to the chassis, because it's not looking good. This image is deceptive. The bronze bar looks like it's crooked, but do have a look at the rest of the smoke box. That is also crooked. It's just an example of how a camera angle can make things look wrong. Most of the holes weren't too bad, but they were all a bit on the small side, and here I'm about to use a right-angled Proxon Micromot drill to do two things: drill out the holes a little bit and make sure they're all in line. And that is it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.